Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Nova and welcome back. I'd just like to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever the case may be while you're watching this. Um, Today is my first vlog. First one. Today I want to talk about a couple things. A little bit about the global Pro League playoffs, stage 1. And then I also want to talk about a little mishap I had with my controller. I was playing Black Ops 3 the other night, a little bit of arena match, and to say the least, I got a little frustrated. And I sat my controller down. Okay, I threw that motherfucker at the ground, okay? The A button, the jump paddle just wasn't working right. It was frustrating me during the match. You're talking S&D. I mean, you just can't have shit going wrong like that. And so, to say the least, I died. I threw my controller at the ground, and I tried to take it apart as well, and I ended up with this. Now, I don't know if you can see that very well, but that is a bag of crap, basically. So, I bought this controller on eBay for $125, I believe. I won it on an auction. So, I get it. There's a long story to this freaking controller. I hate this controller. So I get it, right? I get it home. I plug it in. I'm all excited. And the sprint function doesn't work. So basically the left paddle here is no good. Okay? So I'm like, man, wow, dude. So I messaged the person. They're like, hey, I'll give you half your money back. I'm like, well, that's not bad. I'll take that. I'll use the rest of the money to send it to Scuf and have it repaired. So to say the least, after about a month, I finally get my controller back. And I send it to Scuf and I tell him what's wrong, and I also tell him to make sure that all the buttons are functioning properly. Replace whatever needs to be replaced, because I wanted to get a new controller back. And so I get it back, everything's fine, and then I break a paddle. Okay, now these are not the original. If you've ever used a PlayStation Infinity, these are not the original paddles, okay? The original paddles actually look like, let me see if I can get one. Actually look like this, okay? But they break really easy. So I broke one off. Oh, there goes that one. I broke one off. So I ended up having to go to an older Scuf of mine, an old hybrid, and I put these on. So no big deal, right? They actually felt better, in my opinion. I mean, the PlayStation controller is too small for me. The new Scuf Impact looks really good though, because it's bigger style, like a Xbox controller. I mean, you can really see the difference. Oh, let me see. Up. Can you see that? All right. So I know that was awkward. I'm sorry. So anyways, I started to take it apart, because I have worked on a few controllers, you know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that, maybe the ribbon hadn't come loose or anything like that. Okay? So I opened this guy up. I don't know if you can see that. And you see this white ribbon that goes across there? Right here? This thing is all bent up, tweaked out. It's just like, they folded it wrong when they put it in there. To say the least, the connection was severed completely when I threw it at the ground, I guess. Like I said, I tried to mess with it, and this thing just started falling apart, and I couldn't get it back together. So, basically, I scrapped it for extra parts, and here we are with our broken controller. Hi, baby. You want to come inside? Come on. So, what I had to do here is I got my regular PlayStation controller with my Control Freaks. I have to use that now. And it's actually a little challenging for a player that is dependent on his Scuf, because as you can see, there's no paddles on the back. Now, what I did to have to overcome that is a great function on the PS4 controller is the remapping. And it's true remapping for any button. Okay, so you go into your settings, you go into your device settings, and you go into remapping and you remap it. And what I did is I took L1 and R1 and I mapped it to X and O, so I could have jump and slide up there on my fingers. And the cool thing about the PlayStation controller is there's a little space in between. Can you see it? In between each trigger, or button as you want to call it. So I can sit my fingers there. So I'm actually ready to go to either one, right? And I no longer have to lift my finger off to hit one of the buttons to jump or slide. Now if you play claw, like that, then that's not a problem. But I never really was any good at claw. It hurt my hands, and it's been a long time since I even tried. So the remapping function was wonderful for me. It's not the same as having a Scuf, but it's pretty darn good. And you actually can, if you have big enough fingers, which I have fat fingers, you can actually hit both buttons at once. So, you know, you're jumping and aiming, you're jumping and shooting and aiming. I mean, it's as close as you can get to a Scuf without. Now, I know some players like to play stick and move, okay, where you switch it to where your right thumbstick, you can do the crouch, prone, slide technique. Some people play bumper jumper, where it moves your jump button up to the L1 or L2, whichever you like. I use the triggers. I started out using the buttons, but my hands just don't fit the controller right like that. So I moved them down, and it just made my thumbs feel more comfortable. Anyway, so I did that, and this is the replacement for that. Oh, whoops. Parts are falling all apart. Now, I originally planned, after I took it apart, I saw that ribbon was no good. I was going to put it back together and switch it for a bumper jumper controller and still have the slide button underneath with the interchangeable paddles and all that other good stuff. I actually prefer to play with my control freaks anyways, so, you know, it actually works out. So basically 130, because it cost me $60 to get that Scuf repaired, and I've only had it back for a couple weeks. So that was $130 down the drain. No big deal. Later on down the road, I'll probably pick up a Scuf Impact. I don't know though. I mainly play Xbox, so you know, I already have a couple Scufs for my Xbox, so I'm pretty good there. Anyways. What are you singing over there? It's not even Christmas time. That's my daughter Annabelle over there singing Jingle Bells in May. I think it's still May. Is it still May?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright. So the last thing I want to talk about before I end this, because I'm sure you guys have already, you know, switched it by now, but is the Global Pro League Playoffs, which if you don't know what that is, that's competitive Call of Duty. And it's the season for Infinite Warfare. And they just had Stage 1 playoffs for the Global Pro League, which is new. It's a LAN league, local area network league, where teams from around the world compete for some of the biggest prize money ever. Now, we recently just finished up the Stage 1 playoffs, where Splice took it, which is also the first European team to win on North American soil in quite a while, maybe ever. But I'm pretty sure it's the first time on American soil. Anyways, so Splice took it. They beat Luminosity. FaZe finished third, and Optic finished fourth. I was rooting for Optic and FaZe, partly because, you know, Clayster is my favorite player, and if you've been watching competitive Call of Duty long enough, you know that back in the days, players used to jump around teams a lot. So I never really got into one team, with the exception of Optic, just because, you know, at one point, my favorite player, Clayster, was on Optic, and, you know, I got to liking Scumpy and Nade Shot and Big Timer and all those guys like that, Imbos. So Optic kind of is my favorite team, but Clayster's my favorite player, so I kind of follow him wherever he may go, whether it be Complexity, wherever. He's been on FaZe now for about 2 years, so, you know, I mean, pretty much a FaZe fan too, but Optic is my favorite. So anyways, like I said, Optic fourth, FaZe third. Splice took it, so, you know, they're going to have the first seed in the Stage 2 playoffs. The next event will be in Anaheim. You know, kind of setting up, that event will be setting up placings for the Call of Duty World Championship, which takes place in Orlando in August. So, you know, those 4 teams will automatically be in, plus the third place team from each of the groups, which led up to the global Stage 1 playoffs, will also be in there. And then they'll have like a relegation tournament, online qualifiers, by the time we work our way to the 32 teams for the Call of Duty Championship. Anyways, I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to finish up my coffee, do my morning routine. Me and the baby girl probably have a snack. Anyways, rest in peace to my Scuf. Can I get a like if you ever broke your controller? Anyways, this has been Nova. I'll see you on the next vlog or my next video, whichever the case may be. Peace out.